Hi guys, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, and I am live here to talk to you guys. How are you? Let's see if anybody pops up here in the chat. How are you guys? How's it going? Here to talk 1795. It is a hell of a story. It really is. It's a beautiful story. Cannot wait to chat this with you guys. It'll be really, really cool. Got some questions for you guys. If you can just type hello in the chat, and I'll know you're here. See, there's two. But if you could just say hello in the chat, I have questions. So many questions, actually. I want to get you guys' thoughts on 1795, not just mine. This is why I want to start doing these, so I can hear from you guys as I'm doing this, and I'll just read them in the comment section. Oh my gosh, it's really. I'm trying to think of the first question I want to ask with you guys with 1795. What, to me, with 1795, there's Angelique, there's Barnabas, there's Natalie Dupre, the Dupres themselves, Josette. My God, there's so many, right? There's Josette's father, Andre. It's just then you have Barnabas's family, Joshua, Naomi, cousin. Remember, Millicent isn't there right away. They're her and Daniel, which is her brother, are coming there. Which again is really interesting. So, of Jeremiah Collins, obviously, which is Barnabas's uncle. For me, guys, 1795. This really starts going toward that way. Starts going toward 1795 when they killed Dave Woodard. For me, I want to get you guys' thoughts. Where do you guys think that once they killed Dave Woodard, okay, we're going to go to 1795? When you go back and rewatch it, I mean, it seems like that's the moment where it's like all bets are off. Because, I mean, Barnabas stabs him with the needle. He dies. And it's just like, here's Julia now. She's going to be this protagonist a bit. And here, she's been helping Barnabas, but the death of her friend is just, she's had enough, She's like, no, this isn't, this isn't what I signed up for. And I think that's the thing, too. Julia, remember how protective of Maggie Julia is. Julia is really protective of Maggie Evans. But that's sort of my first question for you guys. Where do you guys feel they really start going toward 1795? That is a question I have for you guys to start off, as I am patiently waiting for people or for anyone just to say hi in the chat. So that's sort of my first question. For those who haven't heard, for me, when they killed Dave Woodard, to me, that's when they're starting to like, okay, we're going to we're going to go to 1795, because a lot of things happen after that still. Where do you guys feel they're definitely, when you go back and watch Dark Shadows, you definitely know they're going toward 1795. Is it the death of Dave Woodard, or is there another moment? I mean, here's the thing, too. You could point to Maggie's escape or even Sarah's arrival, like the ghost of Sarah Collins. Because it's like, there's this little girl who's helping her. There's this little ghost who's helping Maggie escape. And, right after that, we meet Dr. Julia Hoffman in Wincliffe. So But that's my first question for you guys. I'll start talking about 1795. I hope you guys chat on. You know, when we're at this, before we go back to the other to 1795, there are two real big things that happen after Dave Woodard's death. Julia goes into the mausoleum and she hears a woman weeping, and then she hears a wicked woman laughing, and that's, to me, that's the introduction. That's letting you know, hey, that's Angelique. And I know we haven't been introduced to Angelique, but it's great seeds by the writers to say, hey, there's more going on here than what you think. So the seance, before the seance, Carolyn and Barnabas show up. Obviously, they're there too. But during the seance, before Vicky goes back, Carolyn is trying to lie and say, "Hey, no, no." And then that's when the ghost of Sarah enters Victoria's body. And what happens is she starts talking, and then boom, the lights go out, and Victoria's gone. She's transported back to 1795, guys. To 1795. God. And I mean, you could sort of sense it's a bit like Alice in Wonderland where they're going. I mean, everybody looks like everybody she knows. And why shouldn't they? They're related to the family that she knows. Every one of them. Well, for the most part, you have Joshua, Naomi, obviously Daniel, Jeremiah, Millicent, and Daniel, who are going to come later on. And you really have this. She's just. Victoria is stunned because the first person she sees is who? Barnabas. The first thing she sees is the old house. Like, look how beautiful it looks. It looks brand new. Well, it's because it is. And Barnabas opens the door, and she's like, Barnabas. He's like, do I know? I don't know you. Do I know you? And she's like, oh, you stop playing with me. And she's like, oh, I'm not playing. I don't know you, lady. Where'd you come from? What? She's like, what are you wearing? He's like, what are you wearing? She's like, to him, it's like, God, you're barely wearing any clothes at all. Like, what is this? It's so good. Like Fred and Alexander Moltke's interaction is so great, right? And I mean, here's the thing: they've been interacting, throughout 1967, but it's still, they don't miss a beat. I mean, you might say, well, it's not that hard, but to me, it's like, it's so good, right? It's like, holy shit. But for those who missed my question, when do you guys feel that they were starting to go towards 1795? For me, it was after the death of Dave Woodard. That's my question to you guys. My first question to you guys in the chat. Hello to everybody. I see we have 3. So hello to everybody who's watching currently. Again, this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be here a while. We're going to talk the entire 1795 arc and ask some fun questions. It's really, I'll say this too, that with 1795, is this my favorite arc? 1995 is my favorite arc, but this arc, it's considered the best, and with reason. It really is. Here's an origin story that they're going to tell you about a character who has won over the audience already, and he's going to win over the audience even more. And how they're going to do that is really simplistic. They're going to take Victoria Winters, who's at that time still is considered the top babyface of the show. I mean, there at that time there was no bigger babyface than Victoria Winters. Not even Burke. I mean, because Burke was more, to me, an anti-hero, and Carolyn did some things too, but Vicky was our protagonist. She was somebody who was going to defend the Collinses and defend them from Ghost and help the ghost, help Josette's ghost, and she did. You know, save her and Burke saved David from the Phoenix. Laura. I mean, Vicky had been through a lot, and she was about to go through all sorts of hell. With 1795, and here, when she goes back, you have this. Again, it's like I said, you have all these people who she's familiar with them. She's familiar with their faces, but they're not the same names. They're not the same people. And talking to Barnabas, and here comes little Sarah. This is the first time we see Sarah alive. And think about this. We know what this little girl's fate is, that she's going to be dead. Obviously, she's not going to make it past this age. And it's sort of like, oh my God, maybe Vicky can help her. Maybe this will be some sort of redemption. And I'll get into that here in a second, or some sort of saving grace here. And I'll get into that here in a moment. But guys, I'm going to ask again. First of all, hello for those who are just joining. Or when do you guys feel they were starting to go towards 1795? I see we have 3 so far. But again, it's really now with 1795, what you have here, you have an origin story. So here's Victoria Winter. She's in the drawing room. This is where we really find out about the Collins family history book and how much of a lie it really is. It's sort of, do they lay seeds for this? Yes, absolutely. And the seeds are laid way back into the fact of when Barnabas is talking about Josette to Victoria and Carolyn, and how he says her lover was chasing her, and you're like, Jeremiah, and he just nods yes, but really it wasn't Jeremiah. He's talking like he was there, and it's because he was there. It's because Barnabas was there, and he was her lover. He was somebody who cared for her and loved her and adored her. And here, with 1795, you're just going to find out not just Barnabas's origin story. No. You're going to find out how cold and cruel some of the Collinses can be. And we've seen some of that in 1966 and 67. For example, we've seen Elizabeth and Roger sort of be cold to Victoria at times, where Elizabeth was so mad at Victoria for David leaving because of the bleeder valve incident. And Roger was just an absolute jerk to her at times. And even, knew she was in that room up, in the West Wing, and he's taking her and he's agitating her, and he's saying, Victoria, leave. So Roger and Elizabeth and David, they could be cruel to her, and they often were at times, but she still stayed. And now here's something, but here's the thing though. She always had the option to leave, right? She stayed, which we loved her for. Now here's the thing. She's back in 1795. She can't just get back. So now she's stuck here. She's stuck in this time, and she has no idea what she's in store for. And that's what makes it all the more interesting too, because even though they're using Victoria Winters to put over Barnabas, they don't really take anything away from Victoria. If anything, they add some things too, which is really great. Things that were always there, her curiosity, obviously, but she has to lie eventually, to try to save her own life. I mean, this isn't about this. Victoria's journey isn't about her just saving the Collins or trying to save them in a sense. her journey becomes about trying to save herself, and that's something we never really got to see from Victoria until 1795. We do, I'll say this, we do see her fall in love, and I'll get into that. My next question for you guys is, if you can say hi in the chat, is when do you guys think Angelique, what age do you guys think Angelique and Barnabas met or hooked up? That's a question for you guys. I'll give my age. I think right at 16. I do. I don't think it was 18. I think it was probably right at 16. Which, hey, love happens. You meet a beautiful woman on the beach. Why not, right? But with 1795, she hears the reading from Nathan Forbes, Lieutenant Nathan Forbes, of the year of our Lord 1795. Barnabas is to marry Josette, and she just she's in shock. She passes out. She faints, and when she wakes up, Abigail was 20 questioners. When Abigail's looking at Victoria Winter, she just sees a witch. To Abigail, this woman's wicked. I can see it. And to Abigail, a lot of women are wicked. It's like poor Victoria, right? She's always getting into something. And keep in mind too, Sarah drew her governess, and she drew a dark-haired lady. And here's Victoria Winters, this beautiful brunette. And this is another reason why Victoria Winters gets the job. That, and she's qualified. We've seen her put up with David. We've seen her teach David too, which is really interesting that she now has to, pretend to be someone else. In a sense, she's saying her name's Victoria Winters, but she's saying she's from Boston. And so that's the thing. She's not saying she's Phyllis Wick. She is saying I'm Victoria Winters, but she's saying she's from, instead of saying the Hammond Foundling home in New York, she says the Foundling home in Boston. And that's really interesting, that she makes that switch. It's like, okay. So again, we actually see Victoria Winters lie here to save her neck. It works for the time being. It's so great to see that from that character, because it's like, oh my God, Vicky just lied. But it's so great, right? And you have, when she first meets Nathan, by the way, she hugs Nathan, and Nathan kisses her, and she smacks him. I love this. Joel Carruthers was so great. I mean, my God, the chemistry he had with everybody, it was so great. And the fact that he got to play a heel, Nathan's going to turn heel, spoiler alert to everybody. And he, she just smacks him. It's like, no, you're not gonna kiss me. No, even though you just did, I'm going to smack you for it. You could tell Nathan really liked Victoria Winters. He was. I have my own theory with Lieutenant Nathan Forbes, ladies and gentlemen. So Vicky's going to work with Sarah. Excuse me. And here's when we meet Naomi. Obviously, Vicky thinks it's Elizabeth, and it's not. She's calling them by the names of the people from 1966, or no, sorry, 1967. That Roger. But no, she. My favorite interaction is with Ben Stokes. The fact that Alexandra Moltkiano still remembered Matthew, her character Victoria Winters remembered Matthew Morgan, was gold, and it was so good. It lets you know just how long this series has been around, and it still worked, which was great. It's like, okay, this is fantastic. She's scared, and he's like, what's wrong? And Joshua yells at Ben Stokes and punishes him for this. You're not supposed to interact with the people here. You go. You can later on. You get why Ben Stokes says what he says to Angelique about Joshua Collins, and here's Joshua Collins, who is this hard-nosed man and no nonsense, and very mean and very direct and very strict, much more stricter than what Roger was or Elizabeth. But you can see Roger and Elizabeth in this man in a sense. You can see Roger and Elizabeth and Naomi to a sense. You can see Roger and Elizabeth in Daniel, even though Daniel's a kid. Daniel's going to have children, and that's going to be their, he's their ancestor. We've been told that Jeremiah is their ancestor, but he's not the one who had kids. Okay. So you have this moment of, here's Joshua. There's one wedding that's going to happen. We know Barnabas is going to marry Josette Dupre. And, when Josette arrives, that's when we meet Angelique. Here's the lovely Catherine Lee Scott and the lovely Laura Parker. And what performances they give. I mean, they're speaking French to each other, to other people at times. We don't know yet that Angelique's the witch or a witch. And that's so good that Dark Shadows is patient with it. They don't just come right out with it that, oh, she's a witch. And even though we know that when they finally do, that the audience is being told, what's the terror part is no one else knows she's a witch until she puts Ben under her spell, which is amazing. Really, really amazing. The writers were very patient with this, and it was really great to watch. And by the way, for those who are joining, hello. Again, the two questions I asked so far was, one, when do you guys feel they started going towards 1795, the story? Mine was after the death of Dr. Dave Woodard. Number two, what age do you guys think Barnabas and Angelique met at? So those are my two questions to the chat so far. I'm not seeing any response. I don't know if let's see if I could type something and goes through. No. There you guys go. I spelled hello wrong. You guys should be able to interact. So, and I'll be able to see it if you do. So you also meet Natalie Dupre, and you also meet, which is Josette's aunt, and you also meet Josette's father, Andre, and they're a wealthy family. The Collins is a wealthy family, and as my buddy Gordon once said, this is a business transaction for Joshua, and he's absolutely right. This is business for Joshua, and really, the other proof of that is he doesn't just want one wedding; he wants two. This just proves how stubborn Joshua really is and how much will he has. He wants his brother, Jeremiah, to marry his cousin Millicent because he's just not going to put all his eggs in this Barnabas and Josette basket. No. He wants another wedding. But here's the thing. Jeremiah has no interest in any wedding or any woman at all. And it's like, holy, and I love this that Jeremiah puts his foot down like, no, Joshua, no, brother, no. No. I love this. It's so good. He's not afraid to bellow back at Joshua or have these debates with him. Like, nope, not doing it. And Joshua pretty much just like, and lets it go. So it lets you know that Joshua, yes, can get talked down to, but Jeremiah needs to be the one to do it. Barnabas is, to me, Gordon's right here too. Barnabas is a bit afraid of his dad. Yes, he'll talk back to him, but Barnabas doesn't want to lose the family inheritance, and he doesn't want to lose the family money either. And I do think that, do I think that he looks at Josette, marrying Josette, as this type of freedom? I do, in a sense, but I don't think that's his primary goal. He loves Josette very much. But to him, while yes, he does love her, to him, this marriage is also freedom from his father as well. And freedom from his, not so much freedom from his mother, but more freedom from his father. I mean, Josh was a very, very stubborn SOB. He is. He's just so mean to everybody. He makes Ebenezer Scrooge look kind. I'll just say that. He really does. So here's Laura Parker's character. She is all over Jonathan Frid's character, Barnabas. She's kissing on him, and he's like, whoa. He kisses her back first, and he's like, whoa, we can't do this. No. Angelique has not forgotten what happened in Martinique, and really neither did Barnabas. But Barnabas did want to move on. He did want to marry Josette. Angelique, she's got other plans, and she's going to execute those plans to a T, my friends. And execute she is. Putting the scarf around Barnabas is like, and to make sure Josette witnesses it is all the more sinister. And I mean, she puts it around the toy soldier, and she's squeezing, and he's like, I can't breathe. Jonathan Frid sells his ass off, like always, and it's so great to see this. This is phenomenal writing and phenomenal acting that Dark Shadows always had. Whether you liked an arc or whether you disliked an arc, Dark Shadows always put, from a writing standpoint and from an acting standpoint, their best foot forward. And Catherine Lee Scott is doing a great job selling, like she always does, and she's worried. And Angelique's like, oh, I can help you. And she's like, so she does. And here, it's like, okay, now she feels she's gonna, nope, he's still in love with Josette. He's not gonna. So now it's like, okay, I'm gonna fix this guy. I'm gonna get him. And I love the fact that you have, when she's out in the woods and she's picking the poison and stuff to kill somebody. I love Ben sees what she's doing, and this is when Ben gets put under Angelique's spell, and now Ben's working for Angelique. And anytime he tries to warn anybody, he won't be able to speak her name. It's so great and so underrated in the series. It really, really is. And the fact that you have this is so amazing. Then you really get the sense of she's going to turn Joshua into a cat. And when they're out in the woods doing this is where you really feel for Ben, because Ben's like, why don't we turn him into a jackass? I could take him out to the woods. And even Angelique's like, Ben, like that's not happening. But at the same time, I'm going, no. Ben's right about this. He needs to let's turn Joshua into a jackass, into a donkey, for those who don't know what a jackass is. And so Ben could beat it. There are a lot of Collinses you just want to there's times you just want to hit them. And it's it's a credit. Yes, it is a credit to the writers, but Lewis Edmonds just is so great as Joshua. I mean, he owns that character in every way, shape, and form. And and again, when they turn him into a cat, this again, more things are going to be put on Victoria. More of a blame is going to be put on Victoria. And no one can find Joshua. They don't know where he went. They don't even think that Joshua is the cat. Even Nathan's like, what's this cat just lurking around here? And finally, when the spell breaks and it's in Victoria's room, this is sort of what partially condemns Victoria a bit. This is part of the evidence they're going to use in the trial, that she caused, and that's why the cat was in her room. And Josh was like, I got a headache. I don't blame him. I just want to say hello to everybody. We have 5 people in here so far. I don't know if you guys heard my 2 questions earlier, but my 2 questions to the chat is, number 1, when do you all think that they started going towards 1795? Do you think it was after the death of Dave Woodard, or was there another moment you feel, well, that's the moment that you knew they were going to go back? My second question is to the chat is, at what age do you think Barnabas and Angelique met? I've chosen 16. Really curious to hear from you guys so far, but I'll continue as go on. If I see anything pop up in the chat, I'll read it. And what you have also too is with 1795, after this happens, Abigail is more convinced than ever that Victoria Winters is the witch. Barnabas is protesting. Jeremiah is protesting. Here comes a real big issue. Now, Angelique is going to devise a scheme to make Jeremiah and Josette fall in love. She takes the perfume and puts it on, and makes sure that Josette puts it on, and this causes her to fall, to get attracted to Jeremiah and goes into his room, starts kissing. And he's like, at first he kisses her back, like, what? And then he's like, no, you love Barnabas. Like, what is this? And she just runs out. She's embarrassed. And Jeremiah wants to tell Barnabas, but he chooses not to. Because really, how do you? It's like he himself can't believe what happened, really. And I think that's part of the reason he doesn't. So he lets it go. He says, it's whatever. Maybe she was just nervous. Maybe she's nervous about the wedding. That's what I think really another thing he chalks it up to. So here, really, I mean, we know Jeremiah doesn't want to marry Millicent. That's the thing. Jeremiah does not want to marry Millicent and does not want to marry anybody at all. And then it happens. Jeremiah gets put under a spell, and they start preceding the wedding, and there's a lot of funny things that happen after the wedding, and I'll get into here in a moment. Or not after Barnabas. No, not after Barnabas and Josette's wedding. Really after they run away, after Jeremiah and Josette run away. Barnabas, once Josette disappears, because again, there was this little cummerbund that Angelique made, and it causes Jeremiah and Josette not to just run away, but to get married. Barnabas is walking through the woods, and this is where Angelique is saying, "It's me, it's Jeremiah. I married your wife. I stole your wife." And he's laughing. I love this here, because this really causes Barnabas to think something else is going on here, because he knows that's not Jeremiah's voice. He knows it's not. This is some sort of witchcraft, really. And it's really a great moment in 1795. I sort of am. I think that's sort of my question for you guys. I want to ask too, is I wonder why they didn't use Anthony George's voice. Like I get that it's a spell, and that it's Angelique who's supposed to be throwing her voice, but I sort of wonder why they didn't get Anthony George to do the reading. I'm just curious if anybody knows. Please let me know. I don't. I have no idea why they didn't. Curious. It's an interesting decision. Do I think it hurts it? No. I think, if anything, it adds more to the character of Barnabas. That, hey, he knows there is something afoul here, but he doesn't. He's so. You really see a lot of human error in Barnabas. He's so focused on Josette, he really just lets go of that voice for a moment, because once Jeremiah and Josette come back and they're married, and we see them in a hotel room, by the way. We know what they did in there. Once they come back to the old house, or to the first column, what I should say, we see how upset Barnabas is, and he's questioning Jeremiah. He's like, what do you mean you didn't mean for this to happen? You both ran away. It's so great. And it's really, really, again, everything about 1795 is so great. There's nothing wrong with it, really, at all, which is great. It's what you want in a greatly told story arc. Barnabas takes the glove and smacks Jeremiah in the face, challenges him to a duel. This is where Laura Parker's Angelique is like, did the guy I slept with in Martinique just say a duel? Now, here's how I think Angelique knew Barnabas could not shoot straight. I think she saw him take target practice in Martinique, like shoot flintlock pistols when he was younger. And she saw how inaccurate he was. So when Angelique hears Barnabas, I'm challenging you to a duel, Angelique's just like, oh my God, he's so screwed. And you know this too, because she gets this little medallion. Oh, this will protect you, because she knows my meal ticket's about to check out here if I don't make sure he wears this. And he gives her her word he'll wear it. And she's like, oh, thank God. You want to talk about where you see sort of Angelique be this human, that she is in love with this man? Because if she wasn't in love with him at all, it's not just, that's the thing, it's not just about the foul play that Angelique commits. It's the thing she's doing to prove her love to Barnabas. And really, she's not just doing this for Barnabas' sake, in my opinion. She's doing this for the audience's sake. That Laura Parker's character is showing the audience, hey, I do love this character. Like Laura Parker's Angelique is showing, hey, I do love Barnabas, which is great. So when she gets this medallion, when she has this medallion, promise me you'll wear this. It's showing you that yes, Angelique does love Barnabas. She does care for him. She doesn't want him to die in some duel. And she knew that was a very real possibility, because Barnabas isn't the best shot. And then the duel happens. And Barnabas shoots Jeremiah. They got him bandaged up on the face. I love how Josette comes out and Jeremiah's on the ground. And this is where Josette hates Barnabas for doing this. Why did you shoot him? Keep in mind, Barnabas is not cursed yet. Barnabas is not cursed yet at all. He's not a vampire yet. And here's one of his family members that he just shot in a duel. This is what makes me ask the question: did Barnabas more curse himself? Now, not really, but it's an interesting. It's something to really think about and chew on. And Jeremiah does die. You know, I love the scene as Josette is at his grave. You really get the sense of Catherine Lee Scott's Josette, that she is Josette. I mean, all time. Catherine Lee Scott, just, my God, her, you could tell that she owned this role, and she's every bit, when we see Josette as a ghost, and then when we see Catherine Lee Scott as Josette alive in 1795, you could sort of see the elegance of the ghost, because here's this eloquent woman. Okay? Now, you have this moment between the two of them. She still hates him. She wants to love him, but she hates him for killing, really not just killing her husband, but killing his own uncle. I mean, she's not wrong. Really, she should hate Angelique, but Barnabas did pull the trigger after all. So when Jeremiah dies, Reverend Trask shows up. I love how Jerry Lacey looked. He's all black. He's wearing the Solomon Kane hat. Basically, I really think the costume designers just said, let's have him look like Solomon Kane. I really do, because that's exactly how he looks. Jerry Lacey, go Google Solomon Kane. Jerry Lacey could have played Solomon Kane. He really could have. He looks exactly like Solomon Kane would look almost. Really, just dressed to the nine, looking like Solomon Kane, in my opinion. So he walks into the old house, and this is where you get the conference. Now, before he comes, though, I do want to say something, so I'm sorry I jumped over it. I love how the Lieutenant Nathan Forbes is like wanting to get Victoria Horse. He goes, "You better get out of here. I've seen these scenes before, and they can get ugly." And he really, this is Forbes, who's, again, he's still a good guy. He's not. I don't think Forbes is just doing this to want to get laid by Victoria either. I think Forbes is really concerned that, my God, this man's just going to throw this woman under a bus, or or throw her under a carriage and run her over. He feels that she's going to get railroaded, and he doesn't want to see that happen to her. And he has seen these things before, like he said, and he does again. Great job by Joel Carruthers, obviously. And we get this great interaction between Jerry Lacey and Alexander Moltke-Alice. And I love how, he's questioning her faith, and I love what she does. She questions his. She smacks him, he smacks her. Great scene in the bedroom. And he grabs her, and he decides to tie her to a tree and bind her. And if the tree is not withered away, Victoria Winters is not a witch. This is how silly things were back in those days. But again, great scene. Now you have Barnabas and Ben, who are going to look for this woman. Barnabas knows that Victoria is no witch. He doesn't buy that for 1 second. This woman cares for kids. She cares for people. Barnabas finds her, and they free her. Actually, I think it's Barnabas and Forbes, but they free her. And really, this is a mistake. If they just let her there, I don't think she would have died. I think this would have just proved her innocence. But Angelique takes advantage of them freeing her and fries that tree like there's no tomorrow. I give her a lot of credit. We have 6 in here. I'm gonna repeat the 3 questions I asked earlier. Um, Hello, guys. Hello, everybody who's in here. Number 1, when do you guys think they knew they were going back to 1795 or started to? To me, it was the death of Dave Woodard. Where do you guys stand on that? Number 2, what age do you think Barnabas and Angelique met? I chose 16. And I'm trying to think what my third question was. I believe it had something to do with Joshua, I think. I can't remember. Gosh. I'm horrible at remembering questions. So I at least remembered my first 2. It's good. You guys will have to go back and watch this because I do remember asking 3. Well, I'll ask one now, and this will be one to ponder on. With if it's some, I want to give credit for this question to Patrick McRae. Shout out to him. If Jeremiah was still alive, would Trask have been treating Victoria the way he was? There's a question for you guys. So we have even Natalie Dupre is shocked at how Reverend Trask is treating her. She doesn't necessarily approve of it. She's dabbling in tarot. Here's a woman who's dabbling in tarot cards, but here's the difference, though, too. Trask does sort of somewhat accuse her, but not fully. But here's the thing. This woman has wealth and power, and Trask doesn't want to mess with that. He doesn't push it too far. He just pushes it far enough. Really, really good job by Jerry Lacey. So basically what we have going on is a witch hunt, quite literally and figuratively. Only now we have Victoria Winters who's sort of being hunted as the witch, and they search the grounds. Nathan and Barnabas hide her in the drawing room of the new Collinwood, what's going to be the new Collinwood. And Nathan gets caught by Angelique coming out to servants' quarters sneaking some food. I love what Joel Carruthers did here. He completely plays his character so great because he's a womanizer, and he plays that part beautifully. He's flirting with Angelique, and he absolutely should. This is not Angelique having him under a spell. This is just him this is Nathan being Nathan. I love it. It is a great scene between Laura Parker and the late Joel Carruthers. It really is. Really great scene. Obviously, Angelique puts 2 and 2 together. She knows where that food is going, that it's going to Victoria, and she tells Trask, obviously. Because really, the reason she does, though, too, is because Trask is questioning her, about what she believes and doesn't, Look, though I don't think Trask is being as hard on her as he was Victoria, Trask would just accuse any woman, basically, who he was sent to interrogate. I mean, this guy gets off on the number of women he gets hung. And that's really Trask in a nutshell, which is crazy. It's like, holy crap, dude, you're basically persecuting women. Again, great writing. Really, really great. And so, obviously, Victoria has to escape because she realizes Trask is onto her, and she leaves, and they see there was fresh fruit. Forbes is in a bit of hot water over this. And things keep continuing on, really, with you now have a really interesting situation about to happen. Here's Angelique. She's been scheming and scheming and scheming, and she still can't get Barnabas. Well, now she attacks the one person Barnabas loves. And no, it's not Josette. No, it's not his mother. It's that 9-year-old little girl. If you go back and watch the scene where Sarah's ghost confronts Barnabas, this makes all the sense in the world. Because Barnabas loves his sister. And now Angelique's going after, using these pin needles. And she says, if I could cure her, would you promise to marry me? Would you marry me? And he says, I give you my word. I'll if you could cure her, I will marry you. She does cure him. Cure her. Because she was the one who put the pins in the doll. Sarah's doll. And, well, Sarah gets better. Victoria is there. And they can't believe it. How did she get better? Now, Angelique, Barnabas, they get married. Barnabas still loves Josette. He is still talking about her. Angelique's a bit jealous, obviously. But Angelique wants to expose the witch. And no, not her. So she decides to. Trask is pushing the Collins family. By the way, by this point, Joshua, Naomi, Daniel have all moved into the great house. They've moved into the new Collinwood. So yes, now the old house is the old house, which is great. So Trask convinces Joshua, I want to just perform an exorcism. And Joshua and Barnabas, they were arguing over the fact of Barnabas marrying Angelique. Keep in mind, Naomi is the one person who didn't hate Angelique, who didn't turn her nose up at her. Her gift to Barnabas and Angelique was the old house. And it's something Angelique never forgot. As pointed out by two fellow YouTubers who run an amazing channel. It's called Between the Shadows, a Dark Shadows channel. Great podcast by Christine Pierce and Cara Tillies. Great podcast. So now, here's Victoria Winters in her bedroom in the old house. She's hiding from Trask. Here, on the other side, in her old room, in her servant's quarters. She's not in her bedroom, her and Barnabas's bedroom. You have a performance. A great performance by Laura Parker, as always, as she is doing this spell with these stacked cards. Hello, Magical Rod. How are you, man? How's it going? I am still here live streaming, man. Still here. I am still here. So, someone say hi. I did have some questions. I'll repeat my questions. My two questions are: when do you guys feel they started letting you know they were going back to 1795, that they were going back in time? And my answer was when they killed Dave Woodard. My next question was, what age do you think Barnabas and Angelique met? I'm still streaming, guys. Listen, I'm going through the entire 1795 arc here. I'm getting close to getting. I'm getting further along. I'm at 50-some minutes. So now, after this spell she performs with these cards, the cards catch fire. Barnabas is walking down the servants' quarters through the hallway of the old house where the servants' quarters were. And he hears Angelique, and he says, Angelique, and the reason Angelique doesn't hear him, it's easy. She's so caught up in the spell herself, she doesn't hear Barnabas call her name. Then we hear Victoria Winters scream. And scream she does. We all know Alexander Moltke-Isles is a scream queen, and she is. And, well, she runs out the house as Barnabas is going down and runs into Trask Garman. And he's going, I caught the witch. I caught the. Brilliant performance by everybody. Again, real quick before I continue on, I'm going to repeat the 2 questions I asked. When. So I'm on Skype now, but I think other folks are commenting in YouTube and maybe. Well, here's the thing. I have a chat up. Don't know if I have there's a chat up here, but I can't see anybody commenting. I typed hello to see if I could see my comment, and I did. But there's that. So thank you, Magical Rock, by the way, if you could hear me. So shout out to him. Really, really big Dark Shadows fan. A lot of people I follow are huge Dark Shadows fans. No problem. Thank you. I can see your Skype message coming through greatly. That's great. Now with 1795, or was it? Yes, Vicky runs in Trask Arms. He put the initials VW obviously in a circle. Angelique spell causes her to run into his arms. Vicky goes directly to jail, folks. She doesn't collect $200. She doesn't get to roll Monopoly dice. She just goes to jail. So Vicky's going to be put on trial. Here's what Angelique didn't count on. Your husband wants to defend this woman. He wants to prove her innocence. And so him and the lawyer, which is actually going to be one of the judges in the case, because, and the reason he becomes the judge is because Victoria Winters tells him the truth, that she is from another time. And he goes, I can't take part in that. I'm sorry, because that'll just prove your guilt. And he knows it. But he's one of the judges now. So here comes Peter Bradford, played by Roger Davis. Really, really good actor. I love that he studied some about the law. He's not Perry Mason. He's no Johnny Cochran. He's a good lawyer. He's not a great lawyer, it's but he does this really because he's in love with her. I mean, I think if you ever believed that love at first sight, Victoria Winters, Jeff Clark to Victoria Winters is that. It's love at first sight. And here's Victoria Winters. She's watching this man defend her in court. She falls in love with him, and they kiss in the jail cell. It's great. Roger Davis and Alexander Molkialis had great chemistry. Obviously, in Trask is the opposing attorney. We know that. Now, a lot of things happen while Victoria Winters in jail. And here's one of the main things. Barnabas, yes, does believe there's a witch. Now, he's going to find out who it is. And he's starting to suspect it's Angelique because of what he heard. So, he asked Angelique where she was, and she's like, oh, I was whatever. And he knows it's a lie. He knows where she's saying she was. It's a lie. He knows where she heard her voice. He knows where he heard her voice. Sorry. So he wants to ask Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes is locked in the jail cell. Not in the county jail, but he's locked in a jail in the Great House. And so he goes down there. Ben clocks him, escapes. Now, here is Joshua. He wakes Barnabas. He goes, you were a fool for coming to see him. I got to agree with Joshua a bit here. Joshua is such a, like, he's so mean to everybody, like I said. He's so great. I mean, he's really great at it. And you have this You have this moment where Barnabas still wants to find him. So Barnabas does. He's in the shack, and he says, "Hey, I know," he goes, "I wouldn't harm your family." But he goes, "The witch put me under spell every time I try to say her name. She won't let me." Barnabas goes, "I've been teaching you to write, Ben. Write her name. Write her initial. In the dust, he writes V. Before all that, Barnabas is like egging him on, but he keeps accusing Victoria, and he's doing this deliberately. And Ben's going, "No, no." Ben's answering what Ben doesn't realize. He's answering Barnabas without Ben realizing it, but Barnabas does. Barnabas already knows it's not Victoria by Ben going, "No, no," because he's saying no to the name Victoria. When Ben puts the V, Barnabas is a bit confused. He said V for Victoria. Then when he puts it, it's like, yeah, I knew this. I knew this was coming. This is great acting by both men, Thayer David and Jonathan Frid. When he puts the A, when he crosses the line, A for Angelique, he knew it. He knew it. And it's great facial expression like that. So he's going to confront Angelique, and he does. He confronts Angelique. He tries to kill her with a knife. That's where they get into this argument. And Barnabas then brings down the pistols. Now you see both flintlock pistols in the case. I love this scene because it's so great to see this kind of workmanship where you see the dual flintlock pistols in the case. Barnabas takes one of them, and it's loaded. Well, he doesn't take one of them right away. Sorry. So he knows they're at least both loaded. I think they are both loaded, if I'm not mistaken. So you have this moment where Angelique has the doll where he goes, and she goes, "You remember the pain in Sarah's?" And she's taking a bitch. He said, "Stop, Angelique." And this is why Barnabas shoots Angelique, really, to get her to stop hurting Sarah. And he shoots her in the shoulder. He pulls out the pins in the doll, and she looks up and she says, You did the job, Barnabas, but not well enough." And she says the words that curses Barnabas Collins for life. You want your Josette so bad, you shall have her, but not in the way you think. I put a curse on you, Barnabas Collins. Any person you love will die. And it's so great. And she collapses. I love what Jonathan Frid does here, too. He's like, as Barnabas, he goes, "Angelique." And then you hear the crash. It's so little, right? But it's so big because it's like, he's Angelique. Like, he's wondering, did I kill her? I think that's what really Frid's doing as Barnabas. He's questioning himself. Did I kill this woman? He's not sure, which is great. And obviously the bat crashes through the window. Guys, if you're joining me, I don't see any messages in the chat. I don't know if anybody's trying to message me. I know at Magical Rod just messaged me on Skype. Thank you to him. But you have this moment, and the bat just goes for his neck. And I love how there's blood on the floor from Angelique, from Barnabas, and my God, is it a mess, right? I love how Angelique's cleaning up the blood. I love it. Oh, goodness. Hey, Susie, how are you? How are you? Hello. How are you? We have been commenting. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't see them. Don't know why. And answer my question. First of all, thank you. I can't see them for some reason. I don't know why. I have the chat up. For those who have been answering, thank you. I don't know why the chat's not letting me see it. So a second muted screen on YouTube. Gordon and Don and Mark. A second muted screen. We've all been in here. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm sorry I did not see until on Skype. I've seen you guys. I did. Let me try to figure out what's going on. This page is accessing your camera. Yes. I'm figuring out what's going on in my. I don't know what that'll do. Engage with your audience. Yes. Engage. See. Pin message. No. Start getting. Okay. That's just okay. But I don't know why it's not letting. Again, I don't see anything in the chat, so I'm sorry for that, guys. I just want to apologize in advance. But before I continue on, thank you for everybody who's been joining me. I'll have to figure this out. Maybe open YouTube on your phone. Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'll have to open up YouTube on my phone. Oh, my gosh. Where is my phone? I'll be right back, guys. I'm so sorry. Yes, here we are. Here we are, guys. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I just want to apologize. For the insanity. But yeah, it's crazy. Okay. I don't know if it was. But anyway, so I don't see anything on here either. So I don't know what's going on. But because my phone's wonky anyway. So I'll continue on. If you guys have a question, send it either through Skype or because I don't know what's going on with the live chat. Why nothing's popped up in the chat. I apologize. So where was I? Okay. So what we have here, Barnabas being now bit. He's laying there dying. Josette sees him. His father knows about it. Angelique's trying to prevent it. And Ben's trying to and then he dies. His coffin gets carried to the mausoleum. Basically, Joshua was just buying Angelique. Like you can leave. Like you can get out of here. This is so Joshua Collins. Right? This is so Joshua. It's that crazy. But again, I want to apologize. I don't know why things aren't coming in the chat. I just want to say that. I don't know why it did that. I'm going to try to figure that out later on. So I apologize. If you guys just want to message me through Skype, you can. Again, I deeply apologize for that. I don't know why that's not working. But so you really have this fear from Angelique. We have not seen Angelique be too afraid. The only time we really see Angelique be a little bit of afraid is when Jeremiah's, I want to say, wraith or ghost is sort of agitating her. But this was different. This was a different kind of fear because she realized her curse would come to fruition and she'd be on that chopping block. And that's exactly what Jonathan Fritz Barnabas says to her when he sees her holding the stake and hammer. He chokes the life out of her. And you have Thayer David's character who's in complete shock. Ben Stokes is like, you killed her. I can't believe you did it. It's so good. they can't figure out a way to help Victoria winners. They really can't. Um, and again, a lot of things are going to happen where you're going to have Barnabas scares Abigail to death. Okay, this is what's interesting. When he does this, she's already testified in a trial, and I love what, in a sense, it doesn't necessarily hurt Victoria Winters. It actually helps. I think somewhat. This is where it helps her because you have this moment where Jeff Clark, Peter Bradford says, "Well, if she really had all this power, why didn't she stop her from testifying?" It's a great point he's making. And to me, it makes sense. It's like, okay, this woman's not really a witch because if she could do this, why didn't she stop Abigail from testifying? Why'd she wait till after she testified? It makes no sense. And it's a great point that Trask, it's like, this, I think the trial wasn't going how Trask thought it was. Because Trask is now going to call upon Nathan Forbes. Because Nathan Forbes is falling out with the Collins family. He wants to get with Suki. Or sorry, not Suki. Millicent Suki. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But it's really, really good. By the way, if Dawn and Susie are listening, I want to get you two guys together to do a Dark Shadows Movies video. So you guys will have to let me know either on Skype or on Twitter what works best for you, what day. But with Trask, he now is blackmailing Forbes. Forbes is going to go for it. And really, this is where Forbes is going to become evil. But before all that, Suki really is what hurts Forbes because Suki showing up. I'd love to. Thank you, Susie. Thank you. That would be great with Dawn and Susie. Well, we will definitely have to get together and do the movies. That would be so much fun. But so I love Joel Crothers' reaction. Suki. He's shocked. Like, what the hell just killed my ex-wife? like, he doesn't know what did it. And she dies in the old house. We have Abigail dying. We have Suki dying. Barnabas is killing some people. He's also going to kill some prostitutes. Oh my God. Guys, that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, for those watching, please message me through Skype because that's what's popping up. I don't know why the live chat isn't working. It's weird because I typed hello, and if you're on the chat, it should say live chat. I don't know why it should say live, and you should be able to see the chat. I don't know what's going on, guys. Now, to further along, again, this is before he makes the deal with Trask. So this is where Millicent exposes him. That woman was your wife. And now he gets tossed. And now he's up a creek without a paddle. So this is where he makes a deal with Trask, even though Peter Bradford asks him to testify on Victoria's behalf. Really, he knows how the Collinses feel about the trial. He knows how Joshua feels. And he feels if he does this, really, this will just ruin his chances. Again, we're seeing the slow heel turn of a once good man, and really, I think it has a lot to do with the curse. I'm not forgiving him for his actions, mind you. He did a lot of wrong. He did choose to do this, but remember, Barnabas loves Nathan sort of like a brother. I mean, they're really close friends there, and so obviously he makes a deal and he testifies against Victoria Winters. And he says, well, the reason I helped her is because Barnabas asked me to, and Victoria doesn't buy it. and no one does either. I don't. Well, I don't anyway. When I say no one, I know you guys don't either. Um, Again, it's a great performance by Joel Carruthers. I felt Trask really took a risk that by he kept having Joel Carruthers' character change his testimony. Oh, just say you were infatuated with her. What? Oh, you fell under her witch's powers. It's just like, you want me to change my testimony and how that's going to look? And I think really he's making a legit point here because, hey, I don't think we really need to do that. And really, I think that's what Carruthers' character is trying to say to him, but he's having none of it. So he does. And again, I love how Peter Bradford is calling BS on it. Barnabas, again, all the while, Barnabas is trying to help Vicky. He tells Ben to testify. And Ben does. He says, Angelique was the witch. This is where we finally get to hear him say, Angelique was the witch. Guess who comes into the courtroom, folks? Angelique herself, back from hell. And he's like, she's dead. And this sort of like just takes Ben's testimony and knocks it out the park. It's just like, nope, you're a crazy witness. We can't have you testify. And it's just, wow. And she just testifies. She goes, well, I heard my name mentioned. It's like, you heard your name mentioned. You heard your name mentioned, my God. Like how, like, yeah, right, you're right. But again, great performance by both Sarah David and Laura Parker in that scene. Just really great. And lo and behold, after Nathan is sort of wooing and wowing Millicent while the trial's going on, eventually, yes, Millicent does get married to Nathan. And, Christine and Kara had asked me, did I know that, who was it? The woman at Rose Cottage, Joan Bennett's character. My God, I'm going to kick myself. Played the character, and that was their kid. I didn't know that. No. Great research by those two. Again, shout out to them. And so you got to keep in mind, the Collins family history book is going to erase this marriage. And I think the reason we don't hear Flora, by the way, Flora Collins, the reason we don't hear about Flora, too much from Millicent. Remember, Millicent goes out of her mind. And really, Nathan pushes her to that. So, with that being said, you have now, here's what she does. She takes all her money and gives it to Daniel, her inheritance. And he's like, oh my God. Now he's planning to not just kidnap Daniel, but kill him. Victoria Winters breaks out, and she shoots Noah Gifford. This is the first time Victoria Winters has actually killed somebody. This is great, by the way. And because it shows you that, yes, Vicky is capable of killing somebody. Yes, it's self-defense. Yes, it was great. Again, guys, I don't know what's going on with the live chat. I just want to say that. If you pop up the chat, if you're watching this, there should be a thing that says live chat. And if you click that, you should see the chat thing where it says say something. And you should be able to type a message. I don't know why it isn't doing that. Again, if it isn't, I apologize. So you have Noah Gifford get shot by Victoria. This is where her and Peter Peter gets caught. So does Vicky. And, remember, Peter Bradford broke her out of jail. I mean, she's been sentenced to die. She was found guilty, obviously. She did. I will say this: as always, Victoria Winters told the truth. She said, "I'm from another time." Damn it, she said it loud and proud in court. Good, and that was great. Barnabas is Barnabas is going to get used here unwillingly when he leaves his cane down by the dock after an attack, a failed attack, and he's like, "I know." And Nathan's in shock. He's like, he can't believe this. Is it Barnabas, the Collinsport Strangler? And so he blackmails Joshua. Your son's the Collinsport Strangler. I found this down by the dock, you know. And Joshua's like, it can't be. Joshua knows why it can't be, but Nathan doesn't. Nathan just thinks Barnabas went to England. Joshua goes in the old house, and there's his son. And, even Barnabas almost tries to kill his dad for a brief moment. He goes, "You come to you'll be in the tower room." And he's like, "What about mother? I'll take care of her. She'll never know." It's like, yeah, no one's going to notice a light in the tower. But, I love how Millicent points it out, and Nathan's like, yeah, there's... It's really sad what's about it. Now, keep in mind, by this point in time, Sarah's dead. Sarah does die. She dies of illness. She thinks she's seen Barnabas out the window, and she did. This is after he comes out. I know I jumped over Sarah's death. I apologize. And the thing of it is, when Sarah's laying there, Barnabas is like, she's like, "I love you, Barnabas," and he holds her, "I love you too," and she dies. How, guys, how saddened were you by Sarah's death? I mean, that was like that to me is like the saddest moment of 1795. I mean, we know she's a ghost, but still, to see her death the way it happened, it's like, God damn, Angelique. Here's a better question for you guys too. If you're responding on Skype, what was your favorite moment from 1795? And who was your favorite character? You guys know my favorite character is Victoria Winters, but my favorite character from 1795 was obviously Sarah. It was nice to see her as a living character. We didn't get to see her a bunch, but we got to see her just enough. And how that played out, the way, they played her death was so traumatic and so good. You also, after this, Barnabas is really feeling it, but he agrees to, and I love how they get this woman to try to help Barnabas through the curse. I forget her name, but she gets killed anyway. She can't hold it, and thank you, Matt. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. It's really, really cool that Joshua did do this, but it's amazing that you get that Joshua is going to do all this research. I mean, this is the most. We talked about when's the most we see Joshua care. We see the most Joshua care when he realizes his family is dying around him. And it's really, really it's really scaring him, I think. Joshua is showing emotion. My favorite may have been Naomi Collins, but not for obvious reasons, Susie. I love that choice. Here's a question. Do you guys think that when Naomi died, that's what caused really Joshua to sort of, I really do love my family. I'm not just some hard ass, because her death, like the note to Joshua, like Lewis Edmonds sells it beautifully, by the way, but like she drinks this poison and she goes up and she sees her, so she goes, "Barnabas, I love you." and she dies. She collapses in his arms. And Barnabas is like questioning. He's like, "How'd she know?" And he's like, "You could thank Nathan for." He's like, "I'm gonna go kill Nathan Forbes." And I love the confrontation in the Eagle Forbes. And he's like, he shoots Barnabas. He goes, "You cannot kill me, Forbes. I'm already dead." And it's such a great scene. Forbes is going to get killed by Barnabas, which is so cool. My favorite death, obviously, is Reverend Trask when Barnabas tricks him, summons him to the old house. He's been torturing him with witchcraft, and he makes him sign this letter. The letter does not get Victoria off the hook, obviously, and he bricks he bricks Reverend Trask up. I'm trying not to jump. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around now. But really, really great scene. We have this big close, and we're to the end, guys. So we have this big close where Barnabas makes his father Joshua, promise him. He thinks his dad's going to shoot him in the head, and Joshua's given him his word. He goes, reach the governor, that get a stay of execution for Victoria, and even Joshua goes in front of the judge and he goes, "Oh, you just want her, hon?" And the judge is like, "No, if you would have actually testified for this woman, it would have meant a lot." It's a great scene, and Lewis Edmonds is selling the pain in his face, like, "God, I cost this woman her life," and he even says to her, "I'm sorry." We don't hear Joshua say sorry much in 1795, but we do to Victoria Winters, and I love it. It's a great scene. So I love. I'll get to Roger Davis's lines here in a minute. So you have this beautiful scene where he goes, and free Ben, Barnabas, free Ben. It's such a touching scene to see. Ben's been through hell too, and a lot of these characters have, but it's still touching to see. This is what I mean by Barnabas is all too human. Like, he's not just a vampire. He's a caring person, because he didn't have to suggest that to his dad or suggest anything really. But he's not a selfish character. He's not this. It's so great to see that range in these actors and what they did really for these characters in the writing. The writers were brilliant. Sam Hall. And obviously Vicky doesn't get a stay of execution. Joshua cannot bring himself to kill his son, so he chains him up. Obviously, we know that. I love Roger Davis. Vicky, I'll find you. I'll find you through time. They put the hood over her head. They hang her, and boom, Victoria's back. And because time begins to move forward, and we see a dead Phyllis Wick. And then they say, well, I guess that Victoria Winters was a witch. If you guys are still on Skype, is there anything you guys want to ask me? Please do. I won't just end this video. Is there something you guys want to say? Please do. This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun. It really has. It's really interesting too that once Vicky goes back, like, she's just the rope burn. That's one of my favorite effects too of 1795, because if you thought this was a dream, like if you're an audience member of that period, and even when you watch this on the Sci-Fi Channel, even when you watched it on the site, if you thought this whole thing was just Victoria slept and dreamt this, that rope burn is your proof that you're wrong. And it's such a great little thing. It really, really is, guys. I'll try to wait for any questions through Skype. I'll give it about 5 minutes. If I don't see anything from you guys, then we're out of here. But again, I just want to thank everybody who tuned in. Again, I know Don't sweat. The chat didn't work for whatever reason on here, but you guys again could message me through Skype. Yeah, I don't know why the chat didn't work. I don't. It's just weird. It's really, really weird. I don't know if it's just. Let's see, participants. Okay. That says Mabe. Oh, God. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. It just popped up. Guys, it just popped up. I'm serious. I'm serious. It literally, what did I do? it literally, oh my God. Oh my God, guys. It just popped up. I'm so, uh, yeah. Hello. Yep, LOL. Oh goodness, handsome Jerry Lacey. I'll go back and read some. Uh, thank you, Magical Rod. I'm reading actually super chats. Is the chat is popping up now? I don't know what I did. I played with it and it just I'll pop up. I'll go back up and see if you guys got any questions. Gordon, I'm going to have to drop off right now. Great seeing everyone and talk to everyone on Twitter. Yep. Thank you, Gordon. If he's watching, I love that curse Angelique placed on Barnabas. What an intense. Yep. Don Schmidt loved that. Yep. Don Schmidt. Gordon, I'm not a teacher. Oh, I should work. I'll definitely give Joel a heads up next time I see. Oh, goodness. I've never streamed on YouTube myself. Yeah, sorry about the chat, guys. Hey, Mark was in here. Hi, again, guys. The chat's now working for whatever reason. So, but I'm getting ready to go off now. I don't know what. I'll have to when I do this next time, because I think I what I did is I clicked chat. I clicked top chat, and there it was. It just popped up all at once. So, guys, first of all, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you, Susie. I had a blast too. It was a lot of fun. Well, an hour and 32 minutes. So here's next. I'll do my next live stream next. We'll do it for Friday. And here's what we'll do. I'll put a poll up on Twitter now that I know how the chat works thing. I'll have to click. What I had to do, I went up and there's a thing called top chat. I clicked it and there you guys' comments were. So I guess that's what I had to do. So again, thank you everybody who participated. Thank you for stopping by. I just want to say thank you to all of you. You're all fantastic people. And thank you for putting up with me and having the patience of a saint. Just thank you, everybody. But now that I know how that works, now that I've figured it out, God. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a great, great night. Bye-bye.